Okay, hi everybody. This will likely be called the Identically Different Podcast. And I'll be joined by my partner, Chad Calderin, kind of talking about different things that feel right to us at the time. But yeah, why do you want to do this? Because it was actually his idea, if you can believe.
Well, first off, I would like to say that this is the first episode we have attempted to film.
Yes.
The first one we filmed, and they've all been fucking 1 hour long ordeals. We filmed it and we fucked up, so like half of it was not filmed, but it was fully audio recorded. Eventually we probably will put that out if we continue to do this. And then the second one we fucking did, because I'm incompetent, I didn't press the record button, I guess, on our task cam. And so none of the audio got recorded. And so fuck, here we are a third time.
Third time's the charm, baby.
We've decided to change the original topic, and we're going to talk about
whatever
the fuck.
We're going to tread some new ground today, because like we kind of, with both those first two, we were like, kind of trying to reiterate a lot of what we had said in the first one. And we use this voice messaging app called Voxer and stuff, and like when we first started talking, he would do this and I would do this, where we would record something, or I think it was through Facebook initially. We would record something and we're like, no, I don't like that, record it again, no, I don't like that. But then you get to the point where like you're like, wait, what did I say in this one and what did I say in the last one? Did I actually relay all of the information that I wanted to? All this bullshit. And so trying to repeat it yesterday, it was kind of that exact same thing. And so, but today we're like, you know what, I think we'll try and talk about different things. And one of the things that we thought we might talk about was kind of just like relationship expectations and stuff. And I think that particularly for us is something that that has really helped out our relationship, as far as just like not really having expectations of the other partner and stuff. But yeah, when he came to me with this idea, it was something I had actually thought about like months before, where I thought it could be really cool. Because we do make content for each other through Voxer. We like literally send 3 15-minute messages to each other. and I mean, so we have our little exclusive
a day.
Yeah. We have our little exclusive podcast to each other that like actually putting some of this down together in real time, I think is actually pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. God damn it. I forget what the fuck I was going to say. I've been fairly sleep deprived. This past weekend has been very busy. I've not gotten a lot of sleep, so I may be more loopy today than I have been. But I was going to say why, one of the big reasons I wanted to do this, because I don't know that this would ever be something that many people would watch, but I'm not very good at interacting with people. And when we're out and about, I hardly talk to people. It's very hard for me to carry on conversations. I'm not going to get into all the reasons why. I'm just socially struggle a lot. And she has a lot of friends and a lot of family because she loves talking to people all the time. So I meet her friends, and her family has seen a little bit more of my personality. But when I meet her friends and stuff, I hardly talk. And sometimes I wonder if they're wondering, like, well, why is she with him? Like she says that people seem to like me for whatever reason, even though I don't talk very much. But anyway, this is kind of a way for me to show myself, hopefully show a purer version of me, like with my music. That's why I perform my music, because I've written music for like 20 years, and I only started performing about 1 year and 4 months ago. But a big reason I wanted to do that was to communicate, because I have such a hard time interacting with people. So getting on the stage and singing these songs and telling people what I'm feeling.
Having that designated space.
And so this, for me, I'm thinking could potentially be that as well, a way for me to communicate my personality and things that most people won't see. And maybe I can justify my existence as her partner
No.
in the eyes of the masses?
No, I don't think there's anything you need to do to justify that. I think it's pretty evident to the people around me why I'm in love with you, and how we interact with each other on stage, off stage, all of that. The fact that I'm even, getting on stage with anybody is because frankly, more recently I've tried performing on myself, and it's fucking terrifying. It's so yeah. But doing it with you really actually helped as far as getting more comfortable. I don't think when we started performing together, had I started performing on my own at that point, even, say I had the piano knowledge that I do, I don't think I would have done it then. But because I was with you, and because I like the way our voices blend together, and there's something very satisfying about it to me. And because I like playing with you and stuff, I think it made it all worth it as far as the terror and whatever, and it made it easier to kind of ride that with you versus trying to ride it on my own. And it's still kind of gnarly riding it on my own, if I'm honest, but I hope that in time I will improve. No, go ahead.
Okay, I was going to get into one more thing before we get into the meat of our today's topic. So over the past fucking year and a half, 2 years, maybe probably closer to a year and a half, I've been growing out my hair. I play an acoustic guitar and sing. We have this yoga mat over here with a fucking Gaia design or some shit on it, and sometimes I worry that I might be a hippie. I really don't want to be a hippie. I really, really don't. And we've had kind of a disagreement on this because for me, when I think of hippies, the first face that comes to mind is Charles Manson. He is the quintessential hippie for me. And then there's those people in Dazed and Confused that like to spank everybody.
Oh my God.
I don't want to be associated with those people.
Most hippies don't want to be associated with those people.
Dude, so
myself included, goddammit.
if y'all are gonna comment or whatever, please tell me who is a quintessential hippie. She said something about flower.
Yeah, okay. Hang on one fucking second, okay? I'm gonna Google this shit. I'm gonna be like, what is a goddamn hippie?
Google away, motherfucker. I don't.
Okay, all right. Okay, hippie is a broad term for someone who rejects mainstream values and embraces counterculture.
Sounds like fucking Charles Manson to me.
Get right wrecked. Get right wrecked. The hippie subculture, also known as the flower people, emerged in the U.S. in the mid-1960s and spread globally. Hippies were often young people who alienated themselves from middle-class society, which they viewed as materialistic and repressed. They advocated for nonviolence and love and were sometimes called flower children.
Well, he matched most of what was just said, except he wasn't violent. He never killed anybody.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
He never killed anybody.
The actual fuck up. Oh my God.
But in any case, he's fucking crazy. I've seen videos of him. And my hair is brown like him too.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, you don't look anything like him, and no, like I said, no hippie wants to be associated with that. No true hippie.
People keep telling me I look like Dave Grohl too, and that's bullshit. That's bullshit, you guys.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Dave Grohl looks like me.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. You guys have the same hair color, and that's it. Like the same, like hair color and facial hair, but that is literally fucking it. Every other.
The worst. One time somebody said that I look like John Paul Radcliffe, or they mistook me for him. If any of you know who that is, I was okay with that.
Yeah, that was a compliment.
Me. He's cool. Dave Grohl looks funny. All right. So we can move on. I really want to hear from all of you, and I really want to know if you agree with me that Charles Manson is the quintessential hippie.
You're on one. I mean, I understand that that might have been your main association or whatever at the time, but that's absurd. That's so silly. I mean, that's not to say that there aren't like toxic parts of every fucking subculture and whatever, but but yeah, no, I don't think any of the hippies that I know associate or would want to be like, or they would be like, no, fuck that, man.
Okay, so if enough people don't agree, then I want all the hippies to come out and formally excommunicate Charles Manson.
No, that's not our responsibility.
What?
No, nobody claims him, okay?
Okay.
White people don't want to claim him. Hippies don't want to claim him. He's his own mess.
All right. His music wasn't very good either.
I didn't even try.
I haven't looked into a lot of it, but I did one time like Google and hear some of it, and I was like, well, this is kind of trash. Like, I don't normally say that about music. There's not very much music that I'd hear and just think it's awful. I think most music has value.
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot, where like, we feel like, we all have our particular tastes and stuff, but as far as like the quality of music, like for me anyway, it's like I can be in a headspace to enjoy any music, especially live. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I'll seek all of that music out. But most of the time I do. Most of the time I dig a lot of what I hear.
Okay, so how would you want to start on the topic that we actually planned on speaking about now that we've gotten some important stuff out of the way?
Well, so, with ridiculous gender norms and stuff, there's kind of a lot of associations here in that, like, depending on like which parties of the relationship are working and whatever, there are often like expectations in the way of housekeeping and shit like that. There are often expectations, vice versa, as far as financially or whatever. And in our case, that none of those things were ever really a part of our dynamic, and I don't think they ever will be. And thank God for that, truly. And I appreciate you for that in so many ways, particularly because like, with me being sick and having been sick for a long time, and dude, I got into it in the last one. I even fucking cried in the last one, y'all. And like I was lost to the ether. And I mean, maybe that's for the best, but it especially given our situation, me being sick a long time, being disabled, it automatically makes me a dependent in so many ways. And I think, often the financial dependent, whichever side of the relationship that falls on, there is typically that expectation of housekeeping, cooking, cleaning, laundry, all of that, because of the person who's actually, physically going to work and all of that. And still, even regardless of that actually being the fiscal reality of our situation, it isn't evident in how we actually operate. I think we both try to do for the other person and do certain things. And even if it actually falls in line with some of those things, like I like doing the dishes, no matter where I am, whether I'm at my sister's, my family's, or whatever, I like to do the dishes. It is where I process my day. It's how I like think about my mind can wander as I'm like, letting the water flow through my hands and whatever. It's fucking, for whatever reason, it's good for me. He tends to hate doing the dishes. Yeah. And my sister was the same way. My sister abhorred the dishes. It was her least favorite task growing up. And so normally we would trade a chore so that I would take the dishes and she would take something else. And it works out.
It was hard for me early on that she did, because even before we lived together, she did the dishes every time she came over here. And I don't like doing the dishes, as she said. I normally make my son do the dishes. So I wasn't going to do the dishes before she got here. But I'm like, Damien, could you do the dishes? Rhonda's coming over today. I don't want her thinking that we're saving the dishes for you or for her. She come over and start doing it. I'm like, dude, you don't have to do the dishes when you come over here. I'm just lazy. I promise I'm not leaving them for you. It's not how this is. But eventually I gave up.
And dude, and my mom would do and say the same thing, because there were, a lot of the time, when, especially at the beginning when, when I was just kind of staying over here for like a night or two or a couple nights or whatever, and I was still going back home for a night, it's like every night that I went back home, I would do all of their dishes. And then my mom would be like, no, like I didn't leave them for you. You haven't even been using dishes. And I'm like, no, but I've been up all night. You know, my pancakes were cooking. I needed something to do. They were here. I was, you know, because for me, it really isn't a deplorable task in any way too. And even when like I worked in a restaurant and stuff, like cleaning the bathrooms or doing the dishes, in fact, was probably two of my favorite aspects of the job. Like at that restaurant, we would trade around a lot, and so I was a cocktail waitress and a regular cashier and like all this shit. But normally cleaning the bathrooms and the dishes were my favorite, because then you could listen to your own music, you could just fucking jam, and it was nice. You didn't really have to worry about talking to people as well, except for the other back people, and that was fun.
Yeah, I hate my hands getting wet and drying.
Well, they're constantly drying.
Yeah. And like that's one of the reasons I hate cooking. Well, I don't hate cooking, but cooking kind of pisses me off too for the same reason. Getting wet and then dry and then wet and dry.
Yeah, and I think all of us have different like sensory things that kind of put us off in one way or another. And for me, there are definitely things like that. Like, I mean, and like with me in showers, I enjoy taking showers. Most of the time I like put them off or dread them in a way until I get in there, and then I'm like, actually, this is heaven. What the fuck was I thinking? But then at that point too, it's like if I'm washing my hair, that fucking drying 4 hours that it takes is like, I hate it. You know, I normally put on like a throwaway shirt so that like my soaked back, you know, my soaked shirt can just kind of be tossed, and it's so annoying. I hate that shit. I hate it so much. I don't
like showers. It's yet one more thing that I feel it brings me closer to being a hippie. I do it because you're supposed to. Humans are supposed to do that, but I don't like it. Well, part of it for me is just time.
Right.
Like we're very, very busy these days. And
yeah, it's absurd.
Like she said, especially with the longer hair now, like when you're doing all that.
You're just dripping all over the place. Time. Yeah.
And my kids, some of you guys probably know, like they're with me most of the days, 4 or 5 days a week. So I'm getting them, or mostly my daughter, ready for school in the morning. I mean, she can do a lot of it herself now, but you still have to manage. You still have to stay on top. I have to stay on top of her to keep her going. And there's still a lot of, like my daughter is autistic, and she has a developmental disability. Fucking hell. So she's 10, but there's still things that she struggles with doing for herself. So that's a lot the reason I didn't have expectations with her. With their mom, we were together for a very long time, and when we split up, I started having the kids most days. Like I said, typically it's 5 days a week, 4 days a week, and living by myself, and because I don't really have any family here in Tulsa, there's not really much help childcare wise. Now my older son, it's gotten to a point where I feel comfortable because she's primarily self-sufficient at this point. So he watches her for me sometimes. But at the time, that was not the case. So it was just me taking care of the kids and that was actually the first time. And doing like
the food preparation, doing the cleaning, doing the laundry.
It was the first time I'd lived alone because we had gotten together so young.
Do you want to say how young?
It was like 17. Like parents had to sign off on it.
Yeah.
It's not. I wish my life would not have gone like that, but that's how it is. So, in doing, but I'm glad all of that happened because it's a lot, especially caretaking for children. Because in my last relationship, it really wasn't like this. It was this more traditional thing. I came from a household that was actually fairly, maybe more extreme in that way. My stepdad was a Jordanian immigrant, and so when he came into the picture, like in the 6th grade or whatever, that was very much he made all the decisions. My mom did all the housework, all the cooking, and he was kind of in control in that way. That was sort of modeled for me. Their mom also was very her family was also fairly extreme, and like the women there would like serve. Like we didn't do that. No, like our relationship was not as extreme as our families, because I didn't like that, but it still fell into that very stereotypical male female roles. And getting out of the marriage and being alone for 3 years, I spent a lot of time thinking about it. I had experience myself caretaking for children by myself, and getting much deeper appreciation for that I don't know, especially with traditional gender role relationships. I don't think a lot of men understand, even with a child that's fairly self-sufficient. Like my daughter, even with her issues, she can entertain herself fairly well, but there's always that person that needs you, that responsibility may pop up at any time needing something from you. So when you want to do something that you enjoy, there is always that knowledge that you might be interrupted. And it seems like it may not be a big deal. It's normally something quick, but it affects you, and it kind of prevents you sometimes from wanting to do those things.
And I mean, the younger the kids are too, I mean, the more of that there is, you know, the more needs and everything constantly, constantly, where it's like especially like from the ages friggin', 0 to 6, like those are probably the most all-consuming years for whichever parent is doing the majority of the caretaking or whatever. Ideally, I mean, you do want it to be a very split thing, but more oftentimes than not, it will end up falling on whichever party isn't physically working, and to an extent, like, there's some basis in that, but whoever that party falls on deserves and needs many breaks, and they probably don't get them as often as they deserve them.
Yeah, and at that time, like, speaking of like younger children, like I was still diaper changing too. Like that was still a thing for several. Well, actually, most of those years before I met Rhonda, the diaper changing, which is
hard.
Well, particularly in this situation, it was hard because she was bigger, and neither of us liked it. But anyway, like in dealing with all that alone with kids and everything, and then having her come in. Doing the dishes, it doesn't seem like it's that big a deal, but for me, it is such a big fucking thing to not have to do that. And sometimes she cooks for me, like she doesn't cook every day or anything like that, but she cooks for me sometimes. Like here, this past week or two, she cooked me a big thing of eggs, so that I can make burritos every morning, and it's a big fucking deal to me. Like when you have to do all that shit yourself, and you're taking care of kids and all this, you appreciate shit like that. It is a big deal. It is something that you should appreciate. And I didn't in my last relationship. Honestly, like I didn't. It was sort of experience that kind of taught me and changed me in that way. And like we do laundry together now. And that's, I hate laundry still, but it's such a relief to just have somebody with me or have somebody I love that I'm enamored with me when I'm doing laundry.
Yeah, because it kind of makes the pill easier to swallow in a way, because it's like no matter what we're doing, even if it's something we'd rather not be doing, we're doing it in good company.
Yeah, I mean, and we both pick up after ourselves fairly well, so there's not a lot of like dedicated like cleaning time that has to happen. And then like financially, even though I'm the primary provider, like I don't feel that expectation either, right? As far as I don't feel like she's with me for money, and yeah, I mean it's one thing like within our relationship, I can struggle sometimes to understand why she wants to be with me, and it seems like she would have so many other options. And when I think of money in particular, I'm like I'm not poor by any means. I don't feel like I'm poor, because I have been in the past. There were times where it was struggled to get food and stuff like that. But like I told her, it was like a period of insecurity for me, I guess. But I was telling her, it's like I feel like she could have whatever she wanted. I feel like she could have a big fucking house and all these, because I'm just in an apartment, like a 2-bedroom apartment, and I feel like she can have a big house or lots of stuff. I think there's lots of people that would want her. I think there are lots of people that probably actively do wish that they were with her. So I'm grateful. What was that?
This is wild.
But yeah, it's and what's great about the lack of expectations is when somebody does something. When she does these things for me, that's another really big thing. It's particularly like with the cook, like with dishes. She likes doing dishes every day, but like with the cooking, it's a big deal to me when she does it. Not only because I didn't have to do it and it saves me time, but
because it wasn't expected.
It's an act of love. Yeah, it's an act of love. She's not expected to do that. So if she does it because she loves me. She does it because she wanted to do that for me. And likewise, when you let go of those expectations, you can have that. You can.
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, like, I think, like, say if it falls in the traditional direction, like where it is the woman doing the cooking, the cleaning and whatever, like it is, I mean, it can just become a source of stress, frankly, you know, and particularly on shit like holidays and whatever. We've all seen it, you know, but without that expectation, you know, that it's like a lot of that stress really could be eliminated in a lot of ways when you don't feel that pressure to get things perfect or to make the meal just right or in the right time and all this bullshit. It's then when you do it and you do it in your own time and you do it maybe like I do when it's like making something for the week, you know, it can feel like cool. Like I feel like I can feel happy to do a service for the man that I love, and it just it just hits so much nicer, you know, and there's not an ounce of stress in it, you know, because it's not expected. There's just like I'm just having a good time out here doing my other cooking, and I'm like, I'm gonna cook for my dude. And it is really funny too. So like when I was first staying here, just like every once in a while and stuff, like I was actually like cooking a lot more for him because when I was still going home every once in a while and stuff, I would do all my food prep at home for the week, and I would just bring it over. And then so when I was here, whatever, like, you know, little free time I had or whatever, I was like, well, I can cook for y'all because all my shit is done, you know. But now that I've been living here like full time, it's like, okay, well, yeah, no, I do have to do like my food prep too, and sometimes there's a little bit less time here and there, but when I do find time, or like sometimes too, like we've started thinking, especially on nights that I go to bed really late, which is most nights. Most of the time I don't go to bed till like 6 or 7 a.m.
I was talking earlier today, talking about, I'm going to have to fucking go to bed at a decent time tonight, like 2 o'clock, maybe 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, all right. At least she lays with me when I go to bed. When I go to bed, she lays with me and I fall asleep, and it's nice. And then normally, here lately, like 5 o'clock in the morning when I'm waking up is normally when she's coming in. Mm-hmm. I guess it's kind of cool because I get to hang out with a conscious Rhonda for a little bit. Yeah,
before you go to work and stuff. And yeah, I mean, it's but so when one of the last work days he had, I had like made coffee for him before I went to bed, because I was like, because, you know, like he'd been like he has like a coffee maker, but it kind of makes weaker coffee, and like you can set it to make it at a certain time, but he normally uses a drip coffee and it takes longer, like, you know,
pour over.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, wait a second. I'm like, I just barely laid down. You just barely woke up. I could do that before I go to bed, and then like I could be your timed coffee maker in a way, because yeah, I mean, like I've had insomnia for the majority of my life, to some degree, and then to a severe degree. Oh,
we gotta restart the thing.
Yeah, we gotta restart.
Our shit. You're gonna trip. We will have visuals here in just a moment. Get it, Ronnie Lou. Hell yeah, you are. There we go. We're back. I'm here. She's coming. There she is. There it is. There it is. I'm not going to say what I'm referencing there. That bird, that fucking bird. I'm too amused by that bird, if you know what bird I'm talking about. It's stupid. I'm grown. I shouldn't be so.
Watch somebody post it in the comments.
So amused by the dick bird. I love it. It's so funny. The dick bird. I don't know if you Google it, dick bird. If that's probably not what's going to come up. Don't Google that because
you probably don't.
I don't know what the fuck you're going to see, but it's. If you the internet.
It would almost be better to Google like pecker bird.
Yeah, it is. Like if you Google the bird pecker, but don't do it because then everybody's gonna be like, "This fool, this is stupid," and he's over here mimicking the dick bird, pecker bird, or whatever.
He does do a very strange voice that is kind of fun to imitate if you can, but I can never nail it as well as he does. It's almost like, I don't know. There's a weird quality to it that I can't master. Because it's almost like breathy. Like, I mean, it's weird.
I'm not going to do it on the podcast because I already did there it is. And that wasn't a very good impression of him. I'm not trying to do an impression. I don't want people over here. He's bad at impressioning fucking birds, cartoon birds. That's not what I was put on this planet for. I write music and shit.
Yeah, you write some good fucking music. Like, writing music with you has been dope as hell. I really appreciate like just the opportunity to create with a partner, because I didn't think that was going to be a thing for me, but now that it has, it's fucking awesome.
I haven't been talking too much, have I?
No, this is a podcast.
No, I'm not talking about for them. I'm just saying, like, I'm not hogging all the airtime.
No, not at all. I have enough time, and I also have another podcast. So I'm honestly concerned that like people are gonna get tired of my content, in the sense that like there's like too much of it now. Well, it's you're gonna be having your fill of me.
Because I actually talk a fucking lot. Like that's what I mentioned earlier. I'm not very good at interacting with people, and I don't talk much when we're out in public. And I was joking, but I talk a lot when I'm here, and she hears me talking all the time. She says she likes listening to me talk, so that's good. But I was joking around with her, and it's like, that's why she likes going out as much as she does, because that's the only time she can get me to shut the fuck up. Like when we're out in public, I'm quiet, and she can think. So probably, I was like, all right.
That's so silly.
Just invite some people to sit at the table with us. Like, okay, they're here. He'll shut the fuck up. I can just watch this show and be at peace with my mind.
No, I love you too, baby. I love how much you talk. Because I feel like you, in that way, you are constantly letting me in, and that's fucking awesome. It's like the beauty of it to me is that like I never really have to wonder what's going on in your head. You know, it's just all out there. And I mean, I tend to operate the same way. I mean, it's like a while ago, dude, like we were talking about, you know, because he was saying that like he doesn't hold back as far as like just like talking to himself or like whatever. And everybody talks to themselves, just so y'all know.
Well, recently, like I get more and more comfortable with it, and I'm like doing shit without realizing that I'm doing it until after the fact. And I'm like, fuck, there's a pretty girl in the house. What the fuck am I doing?
Dude, it's so funny.
Ridiculous.
He'll be like saying something in the kitchen or whatever. The bedroom door will be open, and then he's like, God damn it. Because he realizes that he was like, you know, audible or whatever. And I'm like,
doing weird stuff.
No.
But do you care if I tell the story? Like when you were in the bathroom and I heard you talking?
Oh yeah, that's great.
Like I was fucking in the bedroom, and she went to the bathroom and was in there, and then I heard her talking, and then I heard like, about time, brother. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on in there? And it's funny because I thought she pooped or something, but she wasn't in there very long. So I was like, well, I'm good for you. You know, good for you, man. I got out, or she got out, and I was like, were you talking to someone? He's like, what? No. I was like, I heard talking. It was like, oh yeah. I was like, you said about time.
No, actually you were, because I was like, I was talking, and then you were like, yeah, I heard about time, brother. And then I was like, oh yeah, I guess I did say that. And I was like, my period's about to start. I got some spotting. And yeah, I mean that was me talking to my period, dude. And well, okay, like even sometimes whenever my stomach is making gurgles and whatever, I'll be like, fucking rude, dude. Like, like I do tend to talk to either my body in very silly ways or inanimate objects in very silly ways. Like literally the other day with the microwave, you were dead asleep and I was, particularly stoned, I suppose. But I had put a chicken sausage in the microwave and, I was doing other things and then it kept beeping at me and I was like, okay, I'm grabbing my sausage, God damn it. And it's ridiculous. I'm very abusive to Siri in particular. It's like the things that I say to Siri, I would never say to a living soul as far as how I treat her and stuff, because I'm just like, go the fuck away, dude. I don't want you here.
Oh, man.
Dude, and we have like the AC off for this so that,
it's hot.
Yeah, it's starting to get toasty.
The first episode we were in, well, I'm kind of in pajamas. You can't see my lower half, and I'm not showing it to you.
Yeah, me neither.
I didn't need to say that. It was weird. I'm sorry, you guys. Some of you might just be listening. Good. And what was I talking about?
As far as the AC?
No, well, like we were wearing pajamas for the first episode, and then like we had to refilm it. And it's like, okay, we'll dress like humans, and she had a dress on, and
because we were going out last night anyway, so I was like, well, I can do the makeup and the fit, and just start it from there.
But then today it was just like, fuck that shit. We're going back to, well, she's not in PJs, I'm in PJs.
It's like my comfiest dress that I own.
This is a podcast. We're not here to look sexy for you, okay?
Yeah, we're just here to be good company if you'd like, because I truly do, like, because with our all-nighter podcast, my best friend and stuff is kind of similar in that, like, she doesn't always necessarily show her funniest sides to herself to everybody. And with Chad, man, he is one of the fucking funniest people I know, and the delivery that he has on a lot of things is just fucking awesome. So, like, I think like sharing this time together in the same way that I feel with the podcast, I feel like having these memories to look back on, even the fucking lost episodes and shit, I think will be really fucking cool for me throughout the years.
I like that first one quite a bit. It was more serious. Too. Like some of these probably
that was like, it was cool too, because it was like, it had levity throughout a lot of the seriousness, and it just felt really warm overall, and I really do dig that for us, I think, because I do think that kind of describes our relationship to a T. There's like more warmth here than anything, and just so much like inherent trust.
Because the first episode we were trying to do was really just about our relationship, how it started, and things like that. But it has been Sweet Fantasy. One of the first songs we started performing together, I'd written, and I'd posted about this on Facebook. I wrote it. I was alone, and I'd kind of give it up. I didn't know how to get out of the house. Like I said, I'm not very good at interacting with people. So meeting people, or meeting a woman in particular, seemed just unrealistic, very unrealistic. And so when I wrote the song, it is a love song, and it's describing falling in love and the first kiss and all of these things. But it was just a fantasy, and I believed that I was going to die alone. I did not believe that I was ever going to meet anybody. I have kids. I've made different mistakes in my life, and I feel like I've just made a mess of everything, and that nobody was going to want me. Nobody was going to look past all of that, and she did. And what's crazy is I didn't expect for things to be the way that they were, because I had fantasized a lot about being in a relationship, because I did not want to die alone. I don't think most people do.
Yeah.
And this has exceeded my expectations in a lot of ways. It's been very wonderful in ways, and there are things that have manifested in this relationship, in bonds and feelings of safety that I didn't think that I would have. I didn't think that existed. We have problems, and there are different, tense discussions and things that have to be had. So it's not, no relationship is just this
like
picture
easy,
perfect, but I don't know. It's like warmth. Like there is a lot of warmth. There's a lot of intimacy, which is something I had never, especially an extended period of time. But we've been together a year, and I don't feel like that's gone away. I feel
like it's intensified in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
For me.
and it's wonderful. It's what I want. I think it would be what most people want, and if it's not what they want, they haven't felt it. I think that if they felt it, they would want it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, as far as any expectations for a relationship for myself, that wasn't something I had either. I knew that I was like I had kind of made the active choice to be alone for like those 4 or 5 years or whatever. Where my health was at its worst and whatnot, but and in a lot of ways, it wasn't necessarily that I felt like it deserved to be alone entirely, but I just really I didn't see myself allowing myself to become dependent on somebody outside of family, and with Chad, like, there's never been anything that I have asked of you that you have made me feel any kind of way about. You always seem happy to join me on whatever errand, I have to run and whatever. And it's a fucking blessing. And I really do hope you know how grateful I am for it. And that, like, in everything that we do, I feel like I'm going on a little adventure with my best friend. And it's just a good time because I'm with you. Even if it's like, fucking picking up my prescriptions or whatever, and that's not to say that like there aren't things and contributions that I wish I could make. Like, and I like actively desire that too, but the fact that, it doesn't feel like burdensome in any fucking way, is just awesome. And really all of that really did make me think that like a long-term relationship wasn't realistic for me. And that I also felt like, that I would kind of just struggle too much to allow somebody to see me in my worst states too. I think that was a complex I kind of had for a really long time. But with you, I don't have that fear. I feel like this year I've been so lucky and like, I'll still have my seizures and stuff, and I still have different, symptom management that kind of goes haywire sometimes. But, as far as general functionality, particularly mentally, like that's the main thing. Like, I might not be the most capable person physically and whatever, but as far as how I feel mentally compared to like, a year or 2 years ago, it's night and fucking day. And I'm just, I'm constantly kind of floored by the reality of our life at this point. A lot of what we're doing, like spending our time doing, a lot of the quality people around us and stuff, like it all seems very like ideal in this way that almost makes it very surreal. And I because you were talking about like, oh, I could have like a bigger house or whatever the fuck, with other people. And dude, I mean, you have made me feel such a sense of like welcoming and like belonging here. Like there was one time actually, this really stood out to me, one of the times that I was going back home, because I have my fair share of insecurities, that's for fucking sure, and a big part of that is kind of like fear of like the people around me getting tired of me in some way. I mean, I just said that too when it came to my content. So but I said that to him one night and he was like, I'm tired of you leaving. And I was like, oh, like it melted me, and I could feel the sincerity in it too, and so I was just like, oh, like I feel very wanted here in a way that I think would be hard to attain with other people. I trust you at your word implicitly, and so much of what we've done in this space is so conducive for like just a plethora of creating, like I feel comfortable to paint here. I feel comfortable to sing here. I feel comfortable to play the piano, record stuff, and just, like I have so many fun tools at my disposal thanks to you.
And it's been exciting. Like I've not felt this excited about the recording in particular for fucking years, dude. And like here lately, I've had Ableton for years. Ableton Live is a recording software, but I hadn't really fucked with it. But here lately, we've been getting on there and using the virtual instruments and stuff, and that's been a lot of fun because typically I'm doing acoustic music, so it's kind of like a new way to be creative. And I have a female vocal that I can take advantage of too.
Yeah, it's a new set of paintbrushes, you know.
And like for me too, I think this is the only time in my life that I feel like I'm happy in a clear-headed way, if that makes sense to some of you. There was a period, because I said I'd made a lot of mistakes. In my early 20s, I had a really bad drug problem, and I became very religious there for a time, maybe about a year and a half or something like that. And it did help me quit. Like I quit, and I was sober for a long time.
Yeah, wasn't it like 10 years or something like that?
It was a long time. And at some point, like with my ex, we'd actually separated at one point, and at some point we had gotten back together because like I said, I'm alone. I didn't have friends, and it wasn't until I started performing that I really started meeting other people. But I fell into a deep depression when I got back with her for that short time. I think we were only back together for like a year or something. But I got very depressed, and I started drinking. I didn't drink every day, but that was like the first intoxication that I'd had in like 8 years or something. But anyway, like as a religious person, I felt happy. But excuse me, and I'm not speaking to the experience of all religious people, but for me it was very much a delusional thing. I think it was teetering towards like a manic episode. And it would kind
of make sense to me too, and you know, I am poorly informed in most ways, but it would kind of make sense to me if when you got off all of the drugs, that it might have kind of triggered it to some degree too, because there's some means of like sedation and other things mixed in with whatever substances, and then so without those kind of, you know, adding to your calibration, you know, it would make sense for it to shift in a certain direction pretty potently.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you're in recovery, they tell you that outright, that it takes like a year or more, for some people maybe even longer, before your mind clears again and becomes clear. And then that's kind of what happened. And the religiosity, it did help me it helped me get sober, you know. But at the time, the happiness that I felt, looking back, it did feel extremely delusional. Like not a healthy type of happiness, like a toxic positivity. It was very much leaned towards, and so
yeah, almost like everything is good, and like a very like black and white, like everything is good, I am good, and all of that. But then yeah, it can shift fairly easily, I think, when you try to stay stuck in that mindset for too long.
I'm a firm believer that sometimes life is fucking miserable.
Yes, and life is suffering most of the time.
Yeah, like when you're miserable or in a miserable situation, acknowledge like the idea,
and allow yourself to grieve the fact that you are in a particular circumstance that hurts.
And I can get frustrated with certain groups for trying to push that. Like I had my first therapist that I talked to her for years before I finally kind of broke away. She would kind of paint this picture of this idea that like you could be happy in miserable situations, and that's bullshit. There are situations where that's not going to happen. And I'm not talking about the depression and stuff that I may deal with from time to time now isn't terrible, but there are situations where you're in danger. There are periods, there are people who are in like physical danger.
Yes.
There are people in extremely abusive, like children in extremely abusive relationships that they are not relationships, but situations that they cannot get away from. Like there are people being fucking tortured. There are people getting sent away to Venezuela fucking, am I saying that right? Prisons?
Venezuela.
Yeah. So to try to say that you can be happy in those situations, I think it's unreasonable, and I think it creates guilt for people in those miserable situations. Not my entire life has, well, it has kind of sucked in a lot of ways, but there are a few periods in my life that were truly miserable, and there was no way I was going to be happy. And to be told by people that, well, you can be happy, and no, you do your best. You can do your fucking best, and try to do what you can, try to get the peace where you can, but misery is fucking misery. And I would never tell anybody. It shouldn't be
invalidated in that way.
Yeah, I would never tell anybody that they should be happy in particular situations. And like I said, I'm not speaking lightly. Like, even when I was alone, and I was just alone, and I was lonely and all, I'm not talking about stuff like that. I'm talking about situations where you're in extremely abusive situations or unsafe situations.
Or just unstable situations too, where you might not feel like you have stability in your home or in your work or in your family or whatever. There's so many things that can kind of leave a person in this like kind of middle ground between like just not knowing whether or not they should be fucking scared for, you know, whenever the next shit is gonna hit the fan kind of thing. And I'm not. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm not downplaying like loneliness and depression and things like that.
Yeah, so not at all.
That I am. I'm just saying like you in particular. Like during those years, she's told me a lot about her health and her state of things. Like in that situation, it's unreasonable to think a person could be happy. She was suffering to a severe degree. The things that she was telling me are things that are fucking horrifying to me. Things that are very much nightmare fuel for me if I ever had to experience that. I don't think, as I said,
well, expecting somebody to be happy in something like that, absolutely not. Like there should be no expectation of that. I mean, I've really kind of come to the conclusion that having expectations for other people in a lot of ways really can lean towards unhealthy. I mean, having expectations for yourself is one thing, I think, and I think that is like within your means to some extent, but for other people, I don't think that's right. But yeah, like there was a little breakdown that I did in the last one as far as my health goes, because I think that people probably see publicly when I post about different routine surgeries and whatever. And so if you have any curiosity in that direction, gastroparesis was probably, aside from the seizures, one of the first things that kind of started getting pretty severe when I was like 15. And that essentially just means like a paralyzed stomach in my case anyway. And then I have like chronic pancreatitis and stuff, and that can go through like kind of bouts of really severe malabsorption. In those years that he was talking about, that was exactly what was happening. It wasn't until I like switched kind of my thyroid medication and changed my formula and added so many supplements to my shit that there's kind of been a lot more progress in that direction. But yeah, so there's the pancreatitis. I have Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid disorder where it goes from hyper to hypo. And I have seizures. I've had seizures since third grade. And like blood clots in the legs and fucking in the arm. And it's been a fucking journey, I tell you what. But I have a surgically placed feeding tube that I get all my like nutrients and hydration and stuff through. And I get sick constantly. And that's something that I tend to, I think that's probably why I avoided talking about my situation for so long, even around people that I fucking love, and that I wouldn't necessarily feel any hesitation or distrust in being vulnerable with them in that way, but just rather that like almost like it's something that I don't want other people to have to think about in a way. And like whenever different friends that are like privy to this kind of stuff, you know, like when they get like stomach bugs, Ryan had one recently, poor thing, and like, or my sister when she was pregnant, she was constantly nauseous and stuff. Like, you know, that's when they have these conversations with me where they're like, how in the fuck do you do what you do? And we'll see. You know, and you were kind of speaking to like in that state in particular when I was at my weakest, at my lowest absorption rate, and just very
starving to death.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like to be kind of starving in that way is probably the most painful way to go, frankly. And well, like when I was first diagnosed with gastroparesis, what was really getting me at the time was, because I had dropped weight so fast, but what got me really bad was actually the dehydration. And when I went in that first time when I was 15, my liver was failing. Like, I was jaundiced as fuck. I looked so weird. But yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of symptoms and stuff that are annoying as hell still, you know, but there's so much in my life that makes all of it like so worthwhile, and all of the discomforts that I have at this point, they really do kind of pale a lot in comparison to what they were when, cause like to have all of that and be starving and all that, like, it felt like I didn't have the energy to afford a personality. I felt like I lost half my vocabulary. I felt very incompetent socially and very fearful socially, not feeling like I could access any of my humor or my wit, because it was so hard to like make my brain move. I think it was just constantly in this like energy conservation mode, because, you know, I mean, your brain is what uses the most of your energy. And so like when your body is starving and stuff, like I had a psychiatrist tell me at the time that he was like, you biologically have to be pretty depressed right now. And I was like, I don't know, you know. He was like, even at that time, I mean, I did try to still feel the brighter things sometimes, but it was like in these little spurts, you know, and it would feel like I was kind of living for certain moments or certain hours with family. And that was essentially what got me through that time. But now, like looking back at that time and like at that conversation with that psychiatrist, I was like, yeah, I was so fucking depressed, dude. I didn't even know how deep I was. And I think that's something that really affects a lot of people, even outside of like physical ailments, but emotional ailments and stuff, is that like you can become so comfortable within that baseline, or what you think is baseline, that you kind of actually lose sight of real baseline, you know, and you can just kind of feel like this is kind of as good as it's going to get, but hopefully it is definitely not, you know, and just kind of trying to find means of fulfillment where you can, or whatever brings you even the slightest bit of joy that you can grasp is really, it comes in handy. But yeah, I mean, to a great extent, like I have like some gratitude that you didn't really see me in that phase. I mean, like when we first met, like I said, I was still kind of like halfway there as far as like attaining like a full sense of self back, full sense of like personality and silliness and stuff. But at the same time, sometimes I think if you had seen me then and could kind of see the growth that's happened up to this point, and a lot of growth that I do feel in part has been motivated and encouraged by you, not consciously, not actively, but so much of what you've done in my life and with me and for me, and encouraging me in these different directions and stuff to explore different things and try my hand at the piano and stuff. It has like it has really allowed me to find aspects of myself, not even just that I had lost, because I talk about that a lot too, but even aspects of myself that I didn't think I had then or now, you know, and it's been really fucking cool. And sometimes I wish I could have, like, because with you too, you know, you had kind of just started getting out as well. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because like I think you said you had been performing like 3 or 4 months.
It was right at like 3 months when I met you.
Mm-hmm. But around that time, it had maybe only been like 4 or 5 months that I had started getting back out too. And so, you know, for us to have met at that time really was pretty ideal in a lot of ways. But like, if I could talk to that other version of you that was, you know, going through the exact same shit that I was at that time too, of like, yeah, I'm surrounded by my family, I'm dying alone otherwise. It was like it felt like a certainty. Oh, nice. Oh, I didn't even notice.
Oh, shit. I got the stupid pants on. You want to do the...
Okay, yeah.
I don't want y'all to see my red pants. They are very comfortable. But, well, you know, I just dawned on me that the camera had turned off. You guys would not have seen my red pants.
Well, I had that thought, but I wasn't going to say it.
All right. Well, then disregard what I said. I'm wearing really cool pants. You guys didn't see, so you don't know any better.
Man, everybody last night was wearing really cool pants. I was like, dang, like Jason's pants were freaking cool. I was like, what? I want some of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, and even a lot of that too, like going out as often as we do, on top of like, you know, trying to do different open mics and stuff. I know that for you, especially after working all day and stuff like that, it's a lot for you, but that you try to do it for me at all is fucking sweet as all hell. And like you danced with me like all night last night, and that was awesome for me. And like all of that too. Like, I mean, fuck. I mean, it's like I had actually written a song called like If You Only Knew, and it kind of talks to like those past versions of ourselves that felt like they weren't going to make it, kind of, you know, not just as like an eventual partner to someone, but just like, I don't know if I'm going to make it, period. You know, like just having these different struggles, it can really fucking wear on a person, you know, and so, but I hope that each of you do feel like you have people that you can be open about it with. And if you know me, I hope you feel like you can be open about different struggles like that with me. That's actually something too, like as far as not talking to other people about my issues as often as it, and I had told this to him too when we first started talking, was that like I didn't want it to inhibit them from talking about their problems, thinking that like I had it worse, and like that's just not accurate. Like pain is pain is pain, and truly, like somebody talking to me about their pain validates my own pain, and it makes me feel less alone in my own pain. And that was something that I tried to implore to him at the beginning too, because everything that he was being open with me about as far as different things that had gone on in his life, I wanted to know. I was happy to get that full scope of you, and to have an unfortunate relation in that way, you know, in understanding a lot of it. And it's just, it's a wild fact that we have gotten here. And I feel endlessly grateful most of the time.
Yeah, it's been very life-changing for me that night that you met. Like, I was embarrassingly excited by all of that. Like I had talked about it in one of the deleted episodes that didn't get recorded, but we went to our friends, a house party of our friends, and there's this guy there, because my name is Chad, and some dude there was like, he met me and was like, hi, and I was like, my name is Chad and whatever, and he was like, man, I wish I had some more of those Chad traits or whatever. And I'm like, me fucking too, because I'm not, like, I don't talk to people, and I was terrified when I met her that night, because I had just got done performing. But even without that, I would have been fucking terrified. I'm not gonna sit here and try to fucking fool you people. I am not some outgoing, confident dude that is just like amazing with the ladies. It's terrible. It's good that I'm named what I am, because I could be named Karen. The internet has been kinder to me, but it has not materialized the way people try to make it out for people named Chad. Not for me. And she, like, it's a funny story too. Like, when I first took her to meet my family, that was what she told them. Within like 5 minutes, she like told my grandma, like, yeah, I met him at the colony. He was he was singing and performing. He was so good, you know, and he was scared of me. And it's so funny because the inflection of it wasn't like this casual. Yeah, I mean, he was kind of scared of me when we met. No, it was almost this excited. Like, he was scared of me, like really happy. And she said that to my cousin Winter too, because my cousin Winter, and like she was saying that it's like, well, how did he pull you or whatever? And it's like, well, you know what, he was scared of me. And I'm like, man, I didn't want my people to know that. Grandma already thinks I've got, you know, problems. I mean, I'm joking. I really didn't give a fuck. I thought it was endearing as all hell.
Because yeah, like there's like sometimes I had talked about this in the last one, like where like the truth will just kind of fall out of my mouth before I have any forethought to stop it. And so like when like Winter had asked me like, how did he like pull you or make the moves on you or whatever, I was like, well, he didn't, because I think he was scared. I think he was scared, man. But it was in this very excited way, because you know, I'm meeting new people and I'm weird in that way. My social anxiety comes out in what seems like social excitement, and it is actually. I mean, it's both. And most of the time that excitement is like, it's almost necessary to like override the fear in a way, because otherwise I think I would kind of stay stuck if I didn't allow myself to just lean full into the social excitement and just kind of really make a genuine attempt to connect and stuff. And I mean, like I to some extent could understand the nervousness with you too, because like, I mean, it was exactly what I felt. It just didn't show up that way. And truly like that first night that we met, me offering you the hug at the end, like good night and stuff, was kind of my way of trying to demonstrate to you that I thought you sincerely were cool, and I did really like your music, and I hoped that that maybe at that point, you know, that maybe we could at least be friends or something. And so, but I ended up like finding him on Facebook, and kind of like, so that was part of it too with your family. I was like, I kind of like sought him out a little bit. I mean, you know, I kind of made I sent the first message and the friend request and whatever. He said that he had actually followed my public page.
Yeah, so I didn't realize that I thought she saw that I followed her public page and then just sent me a friend request, because I couldn't figure out I was kind of newer to Facebook at the time. And so for a long time, I didn't realize that she had pursued me in that way. But then when I found out, I was like, oh yeah, I'm cool. I'm not
cool. You are cool.
Maybe
and,
I can try to convince myself of that.
You so are. And I absolutely felt that way just from talking to you and all of that. It was so cool. I think, you know, once we started talking through Voxer and sending these voice messages and stuff, it became really, really evident the kind of character that you had, and it made me really happy that you were like allowing me kind of to get to know you in that way. Fairly quickly too, you know, like you were very open with me from the beginning, and like you said, it might have been due to the comfort of doing it in voice messages versus in person at first, but it really meant a lot to me, and actually allowed me to be comfortable too, or at least ease into what ended up kind of being our first hangout, not date, but you know, what would become eventual dates and stuff. And yeah, it's been an absolute trip. When I think about those versions of ourselves particularly, it is It is just funny, man. Yeah. I call it baby us because that's what it feels like.
It does feel like that. I look at those old pictures and I'll think of my headspace back then, and it was a very magical time for, like, again, it's kind of embarrassing to say how much, but it really fucking was. Like, it's not something I would have thought would have happened in a million fucking years. That because I am so nervous, so typically, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but with men, the message that we're typically given is that women would want to be with somebody who's confident and outgoing and whatever. And I imagine there's lots of women. I don't know very many people, so I'm not a great expert. You can take whatever with a grain of salt, but that's kind of the message you're given. So I was terrified. I was not very able to communicate very well. I was clearly terrified. Like, I think it was visible. Even before she talked to me, she had seen me as I was going to a bathroom or whatever, and she had said that I had looked very stressed. So I didn't think that she would want to pursue me in that way. I didn't think that she would ever want to be with me because I am the way that I am. So like, so many like feel good things were popping off in my head, in my brain they're still to this day, but at the time it was this very miraculous thing for me. So you think? I
think we'll probably cut this off for now. And I hope that you guys, enjoyed some aspect of this, related to some aspects of this. Well, we'll probably tread some of the ground that we lost before, but yeah, I freaking love you, dude.
Just an FYI for anybody watching the actual video, my daughter is kind of off screen over here, so if you see me like looking weird, making weird, I'm just playing with my daughter.
But yeah, you want to sign off a little bit?
Yeah, this is over. It's done. it's done.
Take care of yourselves, y'all. We'll talk later.
You enjoyed it.